for it to load. And we're live. Welcome to the 6th Reclaimer Book Club meeting. This month we read Halo Cole Protocol. And let's see, which one of you would like to give the summary of the book while I post streams?
Tal, would you like to give the summary?
Okay. You sure?
All right.
Alright, so, on the human side, we have... We start out with two smugglers trying to get... okay, so, first, the Cole Protocol has went into effect, which means all information and, well, logs relating to its location are to be destroyed. A pair of smugglers have their hands on one of the few remaining pieces of this data and are trying to keep it safe from KGR. One of the smugglers dies, and we see the other one being rescued by a Spartan. After that, we cut to, I want to say, the Covenant, and then we.
No, it was wasn't it the fuck? What shit? I'm trying to remember. It was like it was a scene in the rubble, and then we get introduced to Lieutenant Jacob Keyes, and then Commander Dmitry Zhang, and then Major Watanabe of the Office of Naval Intelligence. Where oh shit, they're on that one. Why do I not remember the dude? They're on that one planet that's like full of refugees, and they're like
Cyber something 9.
Cardibrus or something.
Cardibrus 9.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and it shows just how badly the war was going on with the UNS between humanity and the Covenant.
And also, this book is good because it gives us a look at the fact that even relatively deep into the war, there were still hostilities between the Innies and the UNSC.
Yep.
What was the current date?
The book didn't give them, sadly.
No.
This is like, you even say, like, this was the first Halo book to say, nope, no dates and times on each chapter, which is just...
Yeah, that I was like, why didn't it not do that? Like, yeah. Tobias S. Buckle, fuck you for not like including the date and times.
Tobias Buckle, more like Tobias Fuckle.
Okay, I'm going to.
Okay, I think we could. So the war lasted 30 years.
Well, war lasts 30 years, and Miranda Keyes was in, I think, I don't know, middle school or high school by that time.
Like that.
High school, more like it.
High school?
Let's just say 15 years old. So yeah, early high school years.
Yeah, okay, but let's get back on track.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So yes, so like specifically then at the time Lieutenant Keyes is transferred from like instructing like officer training to what was it? To be transferred to the UNSC stealth frigate, the Midsummer Night, where he becomes
not to. Okay, I don't know why he didn't say this in the book, but the book does take place in 35.
35. I figured it was like So I figured it was around the time of around the time of the first Halo Wars. Like that's kind of what I had assumed.
Yeah, this is
Which I was
after
right
this,
off
right?
by like 4 years. Let's see. Security Council.
Oh yeah, I like to say fuck the Security Council.
Oh yeah, they're total.
Like,
We'll get to that.
They
Yeah,
actually,
25. Did you want to hear what I said about the Halo Wars campaign taking place in 2531?
Yeah, I said it's off by 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get back on track now. Yes. So their first mission was to infiltrate. Was just like a standard like security check on a civilian like cargo freighter, which turns out to be an insurrectionist ship that's rigged with like explosives. And it gets attacked, and so it blows, and Keyes so basically they're stranded on the freighter because they don't want to get they don't want the Midsummer Knight to get within range of the ship's weapons. So what Keyes does to escape is actually pretty clever. He basically like uses the battle rifle, like the battle rifle of the ODSTs that were like try you know searching the ship. They basically like gets all of them to use their battle rifles to propel themselves forward through the vacuum of space.
By using the recoil.
Yeah, by using the opposite. Yeah, essentially. Because like there's nothing, because normally when you fire a gun like on the surface of a planet with gravity, like you're not blown back all the way because you are like on the ground, you're standing on the ground, and like you have something to like ground you and like hold your position. But obviously that doesn't apply in space, so if you fire a gun, you're flying in the opposite direction essentially. So yes, they use that which they yes. Let's see. Trying to figure out what other important details happened.
The
Did you guys have the link I sent you
Yes.
guys open up?
Yes, we do.
yeah.
Okay.
There was also Thel Vadame, who would later become the Arbiter.
Yes.
His first foray as a fleet commander, as a
Yes.
ship captain.
Mm-hmm. Because so basically he recently got promoted to Kaidan of his clan. He also is getting like promoted to shipmaster. So, and then the Prophet of Regret basically wants him to go, says, hey, we have these, like, apparently the humans been fucking with our technology, which the Covenant, being the holy religious empire that they are, they're like, this is fucking heresy, and we want you to put a stop to this. And so the elites do, well, sort of. They go to they go to put a stop to it. They find out that the Kegyar are working with the
Brutes.
not the brutes though, because the brutes just like fucking ditch them.
Yeah, the
But,
insurrectionists.
Yeah, but yes, that's what I meant. Is they're working with the rubble. They're working with the humans, and they're like trading and making deals. That's why they have the Covenant weapons. Is like, oh yeah, it's like we'll give you weapons if you don't kill us, and if you just give us whatever goods you have. And so,
The Jackals being the pirates they are, we're okay with this.
yes. Granted, they're also like planning to invade the rubble with like an army of grunts.
yeah.
On
Also,
the
I
surface
like
of
to
the
say,
surface on.
It seems like I think it's fair to say that Velvedom accidentally saved humanity on this one. No, because think about it from this perspective. They were going to kill the people. They were going to kill. Okay, so Vath's plan, who's the kid guy who is Ogre Shining,
Yes.
this, his plan was to have the humans build up a habitat for them and make the Exodus ship, which they were going to kill the humans, take the coordinates to Earth, and then make a massive ass army of Ungoi and just flood the planet with them.
Essentially, yes, that was
Zerg
their
rush
plan.
them with grunts.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you could think of the plan, and then you just think about it from our perspective. Earth is deadly to the grunts.
Well, but I mean, they would obviously have. No, I thought the grunts like were specifically for invading the rubble, and I thought like invading Earth was like a secondary objective.
Yeah, it was to flush. It was to invade the rubble and convert it into another breeding set, a more specialized breeding center for more grunts.
Which they would, yeah, because they have the
Mating chambers.
well, not the main. I was gonna say because like what is it? The Exodus asteroid.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, you got to remember the rubble is basically just like the debris from like.
Yeah, everything was was essentially pre-built for them by the insurrectionists. It was
Free real estate.
tube
Yeah,
of
'cause there was the
pressurized
Exodus
containers.
asteroid, which specifically has a bunch of slip space engines. That is like in case it's like we need to escape and like leave the rubble for whatever reason, we can get everybody on board the Exodus asteroid and like basically shoot that into slip space and launch that wherever we want to go. Anyway, so yes. After that, wait, no. Let's see. We still haven't actually gotten to that part in terms of the summary yet. So yeah, because I forget what because the UNSC, because at the Midsummer Night Crew, they were like inspecting like the like reverse engineered like Covenant technology by the insurrectionists, and they were tracking it down, which they tracked it down to the rubble, which leads the Midsummer Night Crew to the rubble, while also the Sangheili and the Jirohane are also going to the rubble. When the Sangheili and Jirohane get there, the Jirohane just basically backstab him and say, "Yep, sucks to suck," and just basically ditch them and say, "It's like we just found heresy. We're gonna report it to the prophets, and we're gonna get all the credit." Like,
I think the way they attacked, they staged it to look like an accident where they got into a debris field, which the rubble technically is.
yes, but yeah, no, basically still like they're like, "Well, sucks to suck. See you later." Or not.
Brutes are snitches. Snitches deserve stitches.
I think the hilarity afterwards is that it's implied that all those brutes get killed by the council for leaving the elites
not for leaving the elites behind, but because they know too much.
Well, they know too much, and the fact that they left the superior behind.
Also,
and they abandoned holy relics
so
being taken by the humans.
The ship that they were on, how many brutes and jackals would that be? Like, I want to say at least a few hundred.
There were 300 brutes on a jackal ship.
Okay, so that's a lot of dead crew.
Yeah, it was
not a good time.
I think this Cole Protocol was the first case we see the frigates we see in, the corvettes we see in Halo.
You mean the Star Wars class frigate?
No. Covenant equivalent, the Corvette.
Ah, yeah, the SDV Corvette. Nice vessel.
Yeah, it is a nice looking vessel, but this is the first time we actually get it mentioned by name as its class.
Instead of just like in the old books, it was just Covenant Destroyer, Covenant Cruiser, Covenant Carrier.
Well, the Covenant frigate in Contact Harvest was a jackal ship. It wasn't even a proper Covenant vessel.
Yep.
Which we get a description of a proper jackal ship, which is built
basically
like
just a hodgepodge of random junk. Like
it's built like a human ship. That's how it's described. It's like it's built like a human ship. It just has plasma engines instead of fusion torches.
Yeah.
Which says something about how easily jackals get along with humanity.
Yep, we care about money, guns, and glory. They care about the same thing.
To
Essentially.
different
though.
extents.
Yeah, because it's interesting. Because in what was it? Contact Harvest. It's like kind of clear that like from the shipmistress, I forget what her name was.
Just say ship
Char.
mistress or
Yeah.
char.
Okay, Char.
Yeah,
But
they
yeah,
use lasers as opposed to plasma cannons or particle
Well,
beams.
still, but like it's clear that she had her own like agenda outside of the like the Covenant's like religion, and that they kind of don't give a shit about the religion to the same extent as the like as the other species. Oh, hey, Courier.
We missed you. You're here.
Greetings.
Greetings.
I am
Okay.
now here. Greetings.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't get your message. Anyway, we started without you.
It's all good.
We're currently discussing the part where the Jirohane and the basically backstabs the Sangheli and basically leave them to die, so they get all the credit for
For finding the rubble.
yeah, any carrots. Yeah, so yeah, and then meanwhile, obviously, that's when we reveal that well, fuck, what the fuck's that bitch's name? The bitch who backstab who like is working with the insurrectionists on the Midsummer Night. What's her name? I forget.
I
You mean the guy?
I
But yeah,
forgot her name.
Yeah, the three
These have
girls.
the worst luck with having cowardly
Yeah.
backstabbers on
It's
his
just
foot.
us like
Yeah.
like just been trying to remember like specific details, but like
Hmm.
I don't know. Courier, what's her
Steve's
name?
luck with backstab?
I'm trying to fucking remember too.
Anyway, she basically kills Commander Jang because Major Watanabe like died on the surface of fuck, I don't remember what that planet was, but they were
Cyprus.
like yeah, they were because they were trying to like stop like an insurrectionist riot. Yeah, so like that's when Watanabe
Badia Campbell. It's her
Oh,
stupid name.
Campbell, that's right, Campbell. Her, yeah, but yeah, Campbell basically shoots Zhang and then kills herself, and then basically like snitches on the UNSC, saying, "Hey, everybody, hey, insurrectionists, the UNSC is right here. They got a stealth frigate." It's like, and basically, like she basically turns them in, and so essentially, before Zhang dies, though, he says that the Midsummer Night surrenders, and so they all like get captured by the rubble, and they're like offered like, oh hey, by the way, we're all about like freedom, and we're all about like equality, and we're all about like democracy and all this other shit. Unlike the UNSC, which is like evil and a dictatorship, blah 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 blah. We have a
So average
technocracy.
TV series defender.
I kind of
Uh.
love what the ODSTs do. They just go, oh yeah, we'll do all this. Meanwhile, we're going to use their tactics against them.
Well, but then that was like, I mean, to be fair, like the ODSTs that like basically like became citizens kind of got like the short end of the stick, because later on in the book, the ODSTs that like were in prison were the ones that actually got to like do shit and actually got to, you know.
But
like-
it was a risk that they chose to go through, as in
It's just a shame that they did do that, because they had to take the fucking pill that basically means that like the Security Council knows where they are at all times.
So what Australia wants to do.
Basically, it's like the
Well, sure, the Security Council. Well, they had to take the pill that the Security Council knows where they are, but also the AI that is responsible for the rubble knows where they are. So
yeah,
as soon
anyway, so yeah, so basically Keyes' plan is to like No, it's not Keys. Well, yeah, Keys like basically meets up with the Spartans. Like the Spartans like help break out the ODSTs, and with the help of Delgado as well, because Delgado is like considered a traitor by Bonifacio, like because he's a member of the Security Council, and so yeah, Bonifacio is the one who's like working with the Kig-Yar, and he's planning to sell the security, like the navigation data that gets the for Earth and all of those like planets. That is the data that the Gray Team, the 3 Spartans that are trying to destroy. That's their mission. Is they're trying to destroy that navigation data. So, meanwhile, yeah. So basically, they've split up. The 2 of the Spartan 2s go after the navigation data, and then the other Spartan 2 goes after, and then Delgado goes after the insurrection, not the insurrection. Fuck. What did I try? The ODSTs that are kept captive, so that they can arm them up, and so they could board the Covenant ship, the Jackal ship, and essentially kill them all. Which goes pretty well until the Sangheili show up, and then like they basically like fuck shit up, and then
As they do.
yeah. So
Yeah,
yes.
Thel Vadame has to have at least some plot armor because he's kind of has to be the arbiter.
Okay,
later
dude,
on.
I actually love that. Like, okay, so the main OD. Okay, actually, that reminds me of another thing, dude. Actually, it's funny because I think Phazon is probably one of my favorite characters in this book, which is hilarious that I haven't mentioned up until now, because he's like, anyway, even though he's like dying, and he's like, dude, like it's not worth it. Like he's telling Delgado, it's like it's not worth it. It's like just leave me behind. Like he still calls like a Spartan, like the Spartans to go rescue him, which. Like if anybody can like rescue Phazon, it's the Spartans, because it's not worth sending like a whole like fucking like fire team to save him. It's just like, yeah, we'll send one of the Spartans. But anyway, like yeah, because so yeah, Delgado gives Phazon his pistol, the Senora Seis, which is basically a funny play on words for Mrs. Six for the M6 Magnum. Mrs. Six, it's clever. I thought it was
Ratings are nice, but they give you no tactical advantage whatsoever.
But anyway, back to but he basically gets the Magnum, and dude, I fucking love the way he dies. It's sad, but it also is like kind of badass that he's like, even though he's like mortally wounded, he still has like, he only has like an M6. I'm assuming it's I'm assuming it's one of like the it's like one of the I'm assuming it's the M6C because of how
it's actually no, it's the same model as the similar model to the M6 SOCOM. It doesn't have the smart system.
M6C. That's the M6C.
So the Halo 2 version.
Yes, the one that's shit.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just.
But yeah, anyway, so yeah, but because it was kind of shitty in the book, I just assumed, it's just the M6C from Halo 2.
By comparison, it fired regular 50 Action Express. That's all it did. Didn't have the fancy rounds that the UNSC issue for their pistols.
The semi-arbor piercing explosive rounds. I mean, that makes sense. Still, though, it's not fit. The caliber, the cartridge that the M6 uses is very similar to the 50 Action Express. I think it's a little bit more spicy and a little bit longer. So.
I see.
That just means it has a higher powder load. That doesn't mean yeah, which is interesting, like how inconsistent the Magnum is effectiveness both in the books and in the games. It's always kind of funny. Anyway, back to the summary. So yeah, basically, so Phazon is just even though he's mortally wounded on the ground, he's still fucking trying to kill Thel Vadame and his other elite partner, who's going through and killing everybody, and he's just blasts him in the face with the plasma rifle, and he's I just love it how they're how the two elites are just like, dude, that guy's badass. Like he's like, it's just like, I mean, he's like is a filthy human, but that was kind of cool. Like like how
Well,
like
we
he
see,
fucking challenged us even though he had no chance of winning.
well, that was basically Fel's entire arc in that book was just he's learning just how dangerous humans can be.
You guys are so fuck. You're
Especially
kind of
being-
cool.
Tackled by a spine too. That helped.
Oh
A
yeah,
lot.
that yeah, because after Phazon gets killed, I forget which Spartan 2 it was, but one of the Spartan 2s, I think it was
I think it was
Mike.
Jai.
Actually, I said I think it was Mike, and you say I think it was Jai. Well, yeah, it was one of those two, because there's Adriana, the one that's like vaguely like.
It was Jai.
Yeah, okay, it was
Yeah,
Jai.
it was.
Yes, but basically, yeah, Jai like almost like beats the shit out of Arbiter and the other elite guy. Which honestly, I like all the other elites were like also kind of hard to keep track of because they all kind of like felt like they were the same character, just like copy and pasted.
No,
They were all except for the
The guy, the one I forget which one that was. The guy who is like there was so there was the elite that Fel killed because he thought he was dishonorable. There's the other guy who was like trying to redeem himself, and then there was like
Zal.
one other guy.
There's Zal. Zer.
Oh.
Wait, there's Zal. Zaal.
Oh, shit, I love to talk more, but I'm gonna have to head off, gentlemen. It's been
All
fun.
right, well, yeah, it was nice having you.
Man.
Yeah, see you, Forrest.
You too.
Okay. Anyway, actually, it's funny. I think we're getting off track now. Back to the summary of the book. What was I gonna say? Now, yes, after like that happened, like they essentially like the elites do pull back though, because I think I forget. Yeah, because they think like, oh well, our mission is accomplished. We basically, because the elites.
They
Their
basically
target
were
was-
going to let the Kigyar dig their own graves, and they basically were like, well, we're not going to fucking deal with this shit.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like fuck
the
this
elite
shit, I'm out.
target was not the rubble specifically. It wasn't even navigational data. It was let's find where these bootleg Covenant technology is being sold.
Which actually, that's interesting because the Kigyar in charge, what was his name? Raxus or Rox or
Reth.
Reth. That's what his name was. Yeah, Reth. Thank you.
I
Rethy's like,
remem-
oh
I
yeah, by
remember
the way, the
because Halo
Prophet of
TV show
Truth told
turned
me
him
to
into a
do all
magical
of this.
black
shit.
man.
What did you say?
I said I just remember his name because Scott mentioned it because the Halo TV show turned Reth instead of into a Kigyar, it turned him into a magical black crackhead.
A magical black crackhead.
What?
What?
Oh shit! I just noticed they had the same name.
If you guys remember the episode where fucking
Mm.
Chief is on the rubble and he talks to the insane black crackhead in the prison who somehow knows the secrets of the Halo rings and just explains them, that's supposed to be Reth.
We never watched that.
Oh,
I never
wait.
saw that episode.
Oh shit! I just realized that.
I,
Damn.
I had a moment of rage quit when I found out the UNSC wear Star Trek Discovery season 3 uniforms just
That's when we
recolored.
all rage quit. It was like so bad because like none of us wanted to watch. We were watching it because we were also watching it with Steve from Latvia, who didn't want to watch it because he's like, nah, this is dog shit. It's so funny because he is like the guy who like obviously like this show is obviously marketed towards. It's marketed towards non-Halo fans, and he thought it was bad. So
Well, yeah, because the writing's garbage. But anyway, sorry.
I think the final moment was that the greatest Chekhov's gun, the Midsummer's Night's Shiva nukes were activated remotely by the end.
And they
Yeah.
somehow just knew where it would. Okay, all right.
No, they were. The thing is, they were launched without being fully activated into the rubble as an assurance.
It's basically
They
kill.
were drifting. They were drifting. They were in shutdown state. They're not active. They were the perfect minds because nobody could find them unless they did a really, 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 really advanced deep scan, which the rubble did not have.
Indeed.
Oh, while all this is going down, I fucking love this scene. This scene is fucking hilarious. Bonifacio, that fucking dipshit traitor.
Yeah.
Like he's like when the basically when the Prophet's fleet shows up, he's like, oh, the Covenant ship, they're here to save me because I worked with the King Yarg. They're not all bad. Maybe I'll get to join the Covenant as a lower race. And he's like, hey guys, I'm over here. Please help me. And then they're just like turn straight toward him and they just fucking blast him in like away. It's fucking hilarious.
Honestly, I think it would have been a lot funnier than what I thought they were originally going to do. It was like the Prophets were going to be like, we're not going to even waste a plasma torpedo. I thought they were just going to run him over. Just have the ship like ram.
For me,
that actually does seem like the Covenant.
If I were to have karmic punishment, it would just be the last scene, and he's in an Ungoi prison colony.
But why would he be in a prison colony? Because it's because obviously like Bonifacio doesn't know that the Covenant believe that all humans are inherently heretics.
Oh no! Think about it from the Covenant's perspective. When do you want to give somebody karmic punishment?
You gotta guard the grunt mating chamber.
Dude, isn't that a joke from what was it? The Spearhead, like the grunt mating chamber.
Spearhead, yes, the life.
That was actually a joke all the way in. That was actually a joke in one of the other books. Like I don't remember which book, but I've heard there was a joke about guarding the ongoing mating chambers.
Mm.
That's funny that's actually canon. That joke from like the Spearhead. Anyway, but yes, referencing back to what was it? Contact Harvest, where when they discover the Holy Oracle, like the monitor of that one Forerunner ship who was a part of Mindica Bias. He's like saying, "Oh, by the way, these reclaimers that you guys like these reclamations, these are actually the reclaimers. These are my masters." And he's like, they're like, "These reclaimers." It's like,
oh shit.
Are this oracle says that these reclaimers are somehow related to the Forerunner. Does that mean some of them were left behind in the Great Journey? Does that mean that Halo is not what we think it is? Nah, this is clearly heresy. This oracle is clearly a heretic, and so are the humans. Like, and so basically, just like
Am I out of touch? No, it's everybody else who is wrong.
It's the oracle that's wrong. I fucking love the whole like joke of just how the the monitors are just like, we're gonna be brutally fucking honest to you because we're robots and like that's what we're programmed to do. It's like nah, but they're just like they're like expecting them to say like this like holier than thou like prophecy like, oh yes, the next step to the Great Journey is like, no, it's just like the Halo rings just kill everybody. That's all.
No, you ninny, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Anyway, we gotten so off topic, just making fun of the Covenant.
Yeah.
But yes,
I would like to say the Sakili culture is weird. Okay.
it is.
Torturing people is okay. Getting medical attention is wrong.
Well, considering how hostile to Sanghelios is in their early, I do understand why the "you're losing blood, you're losing honor" comes from. It's like, yeah, you're losing blood, you're attracting predators, we're at a disadvantage.
Yeah, it does make sense. I guess like in terms of like culture wise, like that they just never evolved to like, or just like a sophisticated enough society to. It's so weird because they like view themselves as being like sophisticated and intelligent. Well, they're pretty barbaric themselves. It's kind of like the same level of like barbarism as like, I guess, as like, kind of like during the Sengoku era, during like the Sengoku Japan, where it's like, yes, we claim to have like lots of honor and like we are like mightier than thou warriors of justice, but like we're really just gonna stab each other in the back, like
Well, there's nothing wrong with the schemes in and of themselves, as in the elites are very open to it. It's as if if you attack without facing your opponent, even in a sneak attack, it's dishonorable, and it's very close to how Klingons in Star Trek operate.
I was gonna say it reminds me. I was just about to say it reminds me of Klingons from Star Trek or whatever, where it's like,
the Klingons.
how do they even make it to space or whatever? It's like, no, brother, we're going to headbutt each other and eat raw meat.
No,
dude, that's basically how I think about the brutes. It's like, how the fuck did you like manage to like become spacefaring?
I will give the Klingons at least benefit of the doubt because they had to reverse engineer alien technology. They got smart enough to go into space, even if it is reverse engineered technology. Brutes, I'm still questioning how they got to space to begin with.
I mean, we know they did get into space, but they bombed themselves back into the Stone Age because.
Okay, if we look at what the Banished do with people's technology, it's not that hard to believe, considering they're very good when it comes to like cobbling stuff together.
Yeah, but it takes a very charismatic, odd term to use for a brute, but charismatic leader to get them to that state.
Yeah.
If they don't,
what I'm assuming happened was there was some great master pack leader. And he was like, "Hey guys, why don't we try colonizing other planets?" And then eventually he died, and someone else took over, and he was like, "Okay, guys, let's have some war."
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, it's still kind of interesting that, like, despite the fact that, like, the Sangheili view, like, the Jirohane as being inferior and being, like, barbaric, it's like, have you looked at yourself? Like, they're also like, oh, yes, the prophets are so, like, they're like, politics is just so, like, just pointless and stupid, and it's like, that's why the prophets, like, are politicians, like, because blah blah blah. Like, it's just funny. I love the Sangheili. They're just
the Sangheili are a fun and interesting alien. They're not, and even if I do compare them to Klingons, it's like, yeah, they have their own personality, which is nice.
I'm not a big Star Trek fan, but it does seem like they both like have like the same kind of like principle of being a warrior culture, but being a noble warrior culture, as opposed to the brutes, which are basically just like a warrior culture.
No holds barred. You're gonna die.
Basically, just like an Australian bar fight, like in.
Oh no, Australian bar fights have more honor and.
Yeah, I just meant like just smashing each other over the head with fucking random shit. Like,
also, can you tell me why elite house guards wear chainmail?
I think it's partly ceremony and partly easy to maintain. Like,
but what happens when someone attacks the house?
Well, they probably, as in, if it's not a detailed thing, they probably use something similar to jackal shields.
You know what's funny? When they said chainmail, I kind of just imagined it being like purple chainmail, kind of like just all the Covenant metal is like purple.
Oh yeah, as in that would have actually made sense. It's like, yeah, it's chainmail, but it's made out of the more modern materials.
The Covenant purple metal. It's like a special alloy, and that's why it's purple.
Yeah, and if you think about it, the Arbiter's armor in Halo 2 and 3 is pretty much ancient Sangheili armor mounted to a shield harness and strength booster. Like, there's nothing special about it.
It is like, yeah, it's one of those more like traditional armors.
Until he replaced it with gold.
Well, then they must be similar to Gators because somehow the Arbiter increased in size since the last time we saw him.
Well, that's just because of the Halo 5 art style looks like shit.
I can at least give, the change in style. At least the Arbiter was still slimmer than the other elites in the room, despite his proportional increase. Like, he's still recognizably, yeah, he's just older.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. Another thing that I liked from seeing from the Covenant is the fact that the hierarchs are sometimes actively gimp the Covenant war machine.
They also step on each other's toes a lot, like as this incident with because the Prophet of Regret tells Thel and his crew and the Jirohane, hey, there's these guys making heretical weapons. We want you to put a stop to them. Meanwhile, the Kegyar Wrath, right? Wrath, Wrath Meth. Oh, tough to remember that. Just
Okay, his name is Weth, but he also does space meth.
I'm trying to remember. Did he? I feel like that's something that he would do. It's just like,
That's
fucking like.
No, that's not something he would do. That's just a Jackal thing in general, like doing space meth.
Yeah, it's just like, fucking alien like meth or whatever. Just
Yeah.
Which actually kind of reminds me. I just remembered that in the fucking Forerunner trilogy, we're gonna the whole the Forerunner dust that they just used it as a drug for their fucking dogs, for the humans did.
They used it as basically a protein supplement, and people go, "Oh, these are highly advanced humans." Yes, but they're humans still. If you think about it, wouldn't we do the same if we found out about this stuff?
It's basically we found this weird substance. Does it have a use? Cool. Let's use it for that.
Humanity messing up a lot of things.
Cause what was it what was it? It was either, I think it was mercury, that a lot of hat makers would get mercury poisoning because they used to use mercury as a dye for hats. I think
the term "mad as a hatter."
Now on to Keys, who is at another stage of badassery to me.
Any more than the time he just one shots a stealth elite inside of the escape pod.
Oh yeah, dude, I forgot about that, where he's Captain. Yeah, dude, Captain Keys was just badass. Every book that he's in, he does something cool.
No, when you are straight up getting props from one of the greatest wheeling dealing, alien stomping, bartender loving badasses ever to live, being Preston Cole, you are on another level. You are the space black. You joined the space black Air Force Energy Menace Brigade.
Anyway, back to I think with the conclusion of the book concludes with basically the prophets deciding it's okay, because we stepped on each other's toes, let us never speak of this incident again, and basically kill anybody who was involved and knows too much, except the elites. They're fine. We'll just let them fuck off. And essentially they're just yep, this never happened, and they just go about their day. Meanwhile, Keys gets the Exodus asteroid all the way to back behind UNSC lines, and
let's just scare the UNSC by teleporting an asteroid.
Oh yeah, they're what the fuck? Because they thought it was the Covenant at first, only for it to be an asteroid, and they're
that was the funniest reaction. The first thing that happened was every defense system lights up.
Yes, and they're like, "Hey guys, don't shoot, but like, we got like a bunch of civilians that need help," and that and yes, because and so basically the books ends with Keyes getting promoted, and then him having some father-daughter time with Miranda,
Yeah.
which was pretty wholesome.
That was the funniest part with just, oh yeah, let's just teleport this asteroid.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck?
It's like, we don't have a ship left. Yes, we do. We're in it.
Yeah. Which, oh yeah, I also forgot the other part that like dude, I honestly hope Delgado like returns, because like they did imply that he was gonna like join the Navy, and like I forget what it like specifically he was gonna do, if he was like gonna be like a navigations officer, or if he was like gonna be like a pilot or something. But like
he'd
I kind
probably
of
be like 50.
yes, that's true. But I mean, like Delgado. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that would be kind of cool. Like, if he actually showed up in like a future like Halo installment. Like, if he was like, yeah, if like he was like much older, obviously he would be. But like, if he's like a an officer like or something, like he actually like had like it was very high ranking. That would be cool to see him actually like return. Because like I
Indeed.
feel like that's kind of what they implied, and I'm trying to think, like, does he show up in any of the previous 4 books, or if there's anybody that like could possibly be Delgado in the previous 4 books, because we're not counting.
The only
Kirkland.
other character I could think that he would be is the Pillar of Autumn's navigator.
Oh, the guy who
The other
That's a
one,
different
not
dude, though.
the other navigator, not the weapons up, not
Didn't he-
the
the pillar. Sorry, but the guy, because he was no, yeah, because the Pillar of Autumn navigator is Ensign Lebel.
yeah. There was a senior navigator as well.
Yeah,
among
who
the
is I forget. It was the UNSC Iroquois. The what was it? The destroyer. I forget which class.
Halberd.
Yeah, Halberd.
Mm.
Thank you. So there was, because the navigations officer, because he got in trouble, like he got, I think, charged with treason and insubordination. So
yeah.
Keyes picks Ensign Lebel to replace him. I don't remember that guy's name though, but that doesn't seem like the guy, like that doesn't seem like the kind of thing Delgado would do. So I don't think it was him. I think that he also had a name. I just don't remember what his name was.
His name was Dingleberry Finn.
Dingleberry Finn. Is Dingleberry Finn also the guy who wrote Halo, the TV show?
Probably. There's a very high likelihood of that.
Yeah, probably also wrote the new Star Trek shows, and I will.
Probably wrote all those
Dingleberry
shitty
Finn.
fucking smut fanfics too.
Fucking
two-
smut fan.
The two things bringing us together in this whole thing is trashing new Star Trek and the Halo TV show. That's the funniest thing.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, Courier. Is there anything you want to say about this book that you liked, or anything that you disliked?
I don't think it's as good as the Eric Nyland books, at least in my personal opinion. But I do think it adds quite a bit to the Halo universe. My only thing would be, I wish we got a little bit more of the Covenant perspective of things, because I find that super interesting.
I find that interesting as well. I would say, Courier, did you say the same thing with Contact Harvest with the Covenant perspective, and that?
I would say that, yeah, too, is the same thing for Contact Harvest.
You know what? As weird as it would seem, especially for this, I would love a book that's just a political drama inside High
Covenant.
Charity.
Yeah, inside High Charity. We got a little bit of that in Contact Harvest with the
I know,
Prophets.
but a dedicated book where it revolves around a few high rank, like not really high ranking, but just decently high ranked Sanshium, Sangheli, and even Kigyar and Ungoi. Like, have just 4 set characters that we follow around during a political crisis during the Human Covenant War.
That could work. But yes, I feel like it's funny because I feel like in Contact Harvest I cared more about the Covenant perspective than I did about the human perspective.
Well,
Like-
until Johnson came on.
Well, Johnson was there from the beginning. I still would rather read about Dadobbed and Lighter Than Some and Maccabeus. Like, because those characters were just like 10 times more interesting with whatever the fuck was going on. It's like, oh yes, Private Jenkins, get your ass over here and stop fucking around. Like, okay, yeah.
So as soon as Jenkins was named, everybody has a collective moment of going, "Oh no, it's Jenkins."
Oh, Private Jenkins.
Poor Jenkins.
God damn it, Jenkins.
God damn it, Jenkins, fire your weapon. There's too many of them, Sarge.
Jenkins wasn't the one to break. It was.
Oh yeah, Mendoza's the one who just like ran off. Like,
Yeah, Jenkins didn't break. He was on the job and doing what he can.
well, he's still like just fucking standing there doing nothing. But like, at least he didn't run off. Although he probably would have been better off. Was it Mendoza that ran off? That he's the.
Mendoza
It was the
was-
one who in the boonie hat.
Yeah, that was Mendoza.
Yeah, it was Mendoza. Yeah, basically he's fucking has a like fucking M6 Magnum whipped out, and he's trying to kill the player, and he's like,
No, that was one of the other people near the elite body. They split off.
oh, I thought that was Mendoza.
No, Mendoza's the one that was dead on the door when Chief opened it up.
Oh wait, no, because
Mendoza was the one on the door.
damn it, I feel like I remember. I feel like this is just my bad memory. I feel like I remember the Marine that was dead on the door, like in the in the cutscene, like you're talking about the cutscene when Chief like opens the door and then like a body just falls, right?
Yeah, that's Mendoza.
I could have sworn he was wearing a helmet.
No, Mendoza never wore a helmet. He wore
No,
the.
I'm saying the body. Like I could have sworn. This just might be my memory just being bad.
It might be your memory because he wore the boonie hat.
Okay, that was Mendoza though. Huh. Interesting. That's so weird though that like his body was still there. I get that like why in the cutscene they did it because it's kind of like spooky and kind of like creepy, but like it doesn't make sense lore wise why like the Flood would just leave a body there.
If you think about what is, if you think about how quickly a proto grave mind was being developed, I think it had at least some inkling of keeping an ambush tactic.
I see.
Yeah,
Basically, he was going to use that.
Very instinctual. Leave a body so somebody else could use, so it could be used as bait.
I mean, that kind of would make sense if the proto grave mind was like, because I mean, the Flood is pretty mindless in its early stages, like, but like the grave mind is like what actually gives it its ability to like think on like a higher level than just like, oh yes, hit him in the face, like on target on like attack on sight, kind of like very mindless tactics. Which is what the Flood kind of embody in the game during gameplay, is just mindless like attack on sight, like swarm with like large numbers.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think so back to the book though. I feel like my issue with the book is it felt like it had a little bit of a slow start. Like I feel like we didn't really get to know Major Watanabe that well. Like they
Hmm.
introduced him, and then he kind of like, oh yeah, also Lieutenant Jeffries, the pilot, who also like dies. Like he's introduced, and
He
he just
feels
died.
like a wasted potential kind of.
Yeah, I felt like they were gonna
Yeah.
do more with this character. Same with like Watanabe. Like they both kind of just die in like very early.
Yeah,
in the book.
it's a shame that Jeff, as in Watanabe, I know he's basically there as, yes, he's the Oni agent. He has a decent amount of personality, which has staying power. And
I
then
think
he
he
dies
is
on
like
the
one of he's also one of like the two so far characters who's like Japanese. The other being I think it's Aikawa, something like that.
Yeah.
The
Akawa.
lady Akawa, yeah. Her from what was it? She was in fuck, why do I not remember the name of the book? It was in Fall of Reach, and she
Fall
was
of Reach there, Jimbo.
I know, she was in Fall of Reach, and then she was also in The Flood, where she dies in that book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But anyway, yes, you know what's funny? Like, if for the UNSC, like, it's weird how like most of the like UNSC personnel does have like is either like is like of like some English speaking most likely American descendants, and then there's like occasionally the one character who's like of like not like clearly not that, like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, I mean, I guess it's just the way it works. Dude, it's so weird. Cause the way Lord Hood was portrayed in the audiobook for, I know I'm getting off topic again, for First Strike, was like, I think that you like the reader was trying to do like just Sean Connery impression. As like, was Lord Hood originally meant to be British? That'd be kind of. Or it's just like that, like just like he's just doing a voice that he thought would sound cool. But back to speaking of First Strike, how would you rate these? Adding First Strike to the list of books, how would you rate them in order? I'll go first. I would say, I'm trying to think. I think The Flood is still probably the worst. I want to say, I don't know. I feel like then maybe Contact Harvest. I feel like I'm gonna put this is probably, you're probably gonna disagree with me, but I feel like I'm going to put Ghosts of Onyx after next. I feel like, I don't know, I just didn't care for that one as much. I felt like that one had too much of a slow start. I feel like this one also had the Cole Protocol also had a slow start. It wasn't as bad though. But like it was a little bit like, for at least for like the side, like for the perspective of like the Midsummer Night, it felt like a slow start, because meanwhile like the plot line with Grey Team and the Rubble is going on, and like that's a little bit more interesting at in the early part of the book.
The one,
Um,
although needed, I really do feel that, as in although needed, Keyes as a side character in the whole thing, they could have done a little bit better, even in keeping him as a side character of the whole Rubble incident.
But anyway, so yeah, Keyes was, yeah. Anyway, Keyes. I'm getting yeah. But anyway, after that, I would probably say, yeah, I would probably put yeah, we'd probably put this book, Cole Protocol, as the next book. I would put it, and then Fall of Reach, and then First Strike. I don't know why. I don't know why I like First Strike so much, because it felt like, I don't know, because I remember when I read it, like I felt like the first, like I think two chapters were kind of slow, because it was like I did kind of like, it was kind of enjoyable. It's like, okay, here's, well, quote unquote Red Team, which is comprised which is being led by Blue Team. Meanwhile, actual red team is still lost in space. Basically, yeah, you have like blue team, and they're like, this is what was happening on the surface of Reach during the fall of Reach. And that was kind of interesting. And then we pick up right up after, even after the events of Halo: The Flood, and then we kind of like, and then like the whole section of like Chief Cortana reuniting with Johnson and fuck, I don't remember the rest of those characters' names. Like, it doesn't matter. They all die anyway. Like, all of them. The ODST guy, the pilot lady, the Oni agent guy.
Locklear, Halverson, and
Halverson. Pulaski. You're right. Thank you. Yeah. Lieutenant Halverson. Yes. But yes, and so yeah, we had like they basically we had them reunite, like it's like with Chief, and then like after that whole incident, like there was like just this kind of like, it felt like I couldn't put the book down because like I had to know what happened in the next chapter, because it's like yes, like because like that whole thing was like very like quick, like it was very fast paced, and so I like think I like read through a lot of that in like a pretty big chunk of the book in a single like sitting. Because that like whole section was pretty good, and I felt like after that, like kind of some of the action died down, but there was also a lot of like lore stuff that was added in as well, and I don't know, I just like First Strike that much. This might just be my personal opinion.
Fine.
I don't know.
Okay.
Again, Tao, what would you rate with these books in order from, I guess, worst to best?
Okay, so I would say The Flood.
Yes.
Contact Harvest.
All right.
And then this book, because those are the ones that I've read.
Oh, you haven't read
Yes.
First Strike and Fall of Reach?
Yes.
And Ghost of Onyx. All right. Well,
Yeah.
that's all right. Courier, how would you rate these books, worst to best?
I would probably say Fall of Reach is my favorite. Followed by Cole Protocol, or not Cole Protocol, fucking no, I guess not Contact Harvest. So it's Fall of Reach, then First Strike, then Contact Harvest, then Ghosts of Onyx, then Cole Protocol, then The Flood, I think. I'm not forgetting any books, am I? No. Flood's probably my least favorite because it's just like, well, go play the fucking games. So
it kind of is like half, like at least for half the runtime, and like the stuff that it does add to the narrative feels kind of like tacked on in a way. Like aside from like the bits with like, I feel like aside from the bits with keys and like the actual flood bit, like where they're actually fighting the flood, and then like aside from, and then like even like I mean, we got a little. That's like I think where we first got introduced to the Covenant perspective, but it was kind of like more like a Saturday morning cartoon than it was like an actual serious depiction of the Covenant.
Yeah, but I think that sort of levity, despite being dark humor, was needed in that book.
It definitely does kind of feel like the tone. Like it definitely does capture what you would think the tone of like the early like levels of the game kind of felt. It's like, yeah, this is like a Saturday morning cartoon, but for adults. Like like that's what at least what the tone of like Combat Evolved was for the first like half of the game. But then in the second half, obviously, it gets a little bit more dark and it's a little bit more serious, like because that's where like a lot of the plot twists like happen.
Even with the Covenant parts, like the tone gradually gets darker.
Oh, with the Halo: The Flood.
Yeah.
I guess you're right. I guess you're like, I could kind of see that. Barry, of so far of the 6 books, I feel like we need it like to make a tier list. We each like I think like we'll have to like
I gotta get going.
Oh,
Okay.
okay, Barry.
Barry.
Before you go. Oh. Anyway. Little does he know that. I mean, he muted himself. Oh, he just left. I was about to say because if Barry like yeah, but I feel like we do need like a tier list of like. I feel like once we Oh, hey, Courier, do you still want to read the Karen Travis books next?
Please say no.
Yeah,
Please say
and I'll
no.
have a
Please
lot
say
to
no.
say about
Oh.
them because they're garbage.
Okay. That means the next book is going to be Halo Glasslands.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Then why did you pick it? We could have been reading the Forerunner trilogy. We could have been reading the next Grey Team novel.
Wait, yeah,
Because
we
I'm
can
a
read the next
fucking-
Grey Team
because
novel.
I'm a sadomasochist or something. I don't know.
Stop being a masochist, please. It's not helping for you. Please, no, don't do this to yourself and us.
Well, I mean, we're also doing this to the audience, so
Yeah.
Indeed.
because they're like, "Oh, you poor." Hey! At least it won't be as bad as Paramount's Halo.
That is true.
Yeah. No, okay, I think you can. I don't know if you could actually make something as bad as that.
I mean, if considering the fact that Paramount's Halo makes Halo 5 look good, yeah, it seems very
No, okay.
unlikely.
Considering the fact that you have every iteration of Master Chief, whether we're talking about a comic, a game, yes, including Halo 5 and 4, and the books, that is unbelievably horrible. Like,
So you're saying we didn't play the video games because we're actually games journalists and we don't know how to play video games. So we just wrote a bunch of shit and then like coincidentally some of it like happened to slightly vaguely resemble Halo.
Coincidentally.
Yes, that's kind of how the production of Paramount's Halo went. And then obviously the actual production value ranges from wow, that actually looks pretty good to oh my god, that scene looks actually unfinished.
right, so, oh wait, did Carrier give his thing yet?
Yeah, he did. He said
Yeah.
that you said that you put that's funny. You put Contact Harvest pretty high on your list. I think a lot of us thought it was like kind of decent.
I just enjoy it for Johnson, so.
You just enjoy it for Johnson. I see. That's a fair assessment. I honestly like probably would have put it higher because I have a personal bias towards like the Covenant scenes, and I felt like that was just the best part of the book. And I was just like, I kind of want to read a whole book where it's entirely that. Actually, I think what is it? Halo Broken Circle. It is basically entirely like just Covenant politics because it's like about the war between the Sangheili and the Sunshine. I think. Have you read Broken Circle?
No, not yet.
No? Okay. I thought you said you read all the books.
All the books except for that one, evidently.
Except for that one. Dude, it seems like looking at all of these, it seems like there's like oh Jesus Christ, 6 of these books are written by Troy Denning. Ugh. There's like Halo Last Light, Halo Retribution, Halo Divine Wind, Halo Silent Storm, Halo Oblivion, Halo Shadows of Reach. Like, dear Lord, how many like Troy Denning books? Isn't Troy Denning that fucker who did the Forerunner spiders?
Yes, he is. Unfortunately.
Oh dear Lord, I'm not looking forward to Troy Denning because that's
fucking spiders.
All right, so let's see. So far, I think that we've now concluded like what is considered to be like the essential Halo books. Like if you were to ask like like, Halo fans, it's like, oh, should I read the books? That you'd be like, yeah, these are like the first books they would tell you to read. And we're kind of past that, and as we've decided, we're going to read the Karen Travis trilogy, Lex. Which interestingly enough, that's like that's kind of like makes sense chronologically, because that would be like the thing that would be the events after Ghosts of Onyx.
Indeed.
Yes, so that'll kind of maybe be interesting, but obviously it's been handled so poorly. So yeah. Well, we'll just have to see. Anything else you guys want to say before we head off?
Also, why haven't we gotten energy pikes in the games yet?
Energy pikes. You mean like
Yes.
the honor guard spear?
No, those are regular halberds. I'm talking about energy pikes. Like,
I thought they did have like an energy blade. Or am I just
no,
misremembering it again?
it's regular blade.
Huh.
Here, they're clearly shown to have energy pikes. In fact, I'm
Hmm.
sure they probably have other energy weapons. So why don't we have the?
Because we have the energy sword, and like we don't need another melee weapon.
No, I want energy pikes. We could go a game without having the energy sword.
Well, but
9.
9.
9.
Yes, but the energy sword is iconic, and we need to have the energy sword because iconic, and because Hidden Xperia says the word iconic all the time, and so Halo needs to be as iconic as possible.
Oh.
Yeah, actually, it's so funny. Hidden Xperia, he basically said the word iconic so many times that it became a meme, and then he basically he didn't goofed on himself for doing that, and then he basically ruined it by doing that too much. Dude, learn when to chill and learn when to how to that there are other words in the English language the English language that mean basically the same thing, and you could use other words other than iconic. But yeah, that's a rant from another day.
Yes.
Fair.
Maybe next time we could talk about okay, I think after we get a teaser and maybe some more information about what they're doing as far as Halo the Endless is concerned, we could maybe
Halo,
talk
is
about
this like a book or something?
It's a fucking
No,
stupid
it's-
campaign expansion, because let's expand the campaign while the fucking multiplayer isn't even.
yeah, okay.
Not even the multiplayer, while the main game itself is barely even finished. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm assuming that all the stuff that they had, I'm pretty sure that this is basically them saying,
Alright.
the stuff we couldn't put in the regular campaign or sandbox because
Quote unquote.
it
Couldn't.
would have.
Huh.
No, because remember the whole graphics overhaul that they had to do? Okay, when that's concerned, as far as IT wise, you have to go for some things as far as just color or the actual textures and the way that they react with the sun and shadows, you have to go and redo that from the ground up. So I could actually see it taking a full year to do.
Well, I mean, I'm not replaying the campaign.
Mhm.
Not anytime soon, at least. I beat it on heroic. I thought that was, fine. The gameplay was fun, but I just have no incentive to replay it because the story wasn't particularly it wasn't
Yeah,
particularly
that's the
bad,
thing. It
but it
was
wasn't particularly enjoyable either. There was never a moment where it's oh, that was just so amazing. I want to see that again. And
I think it was okay. I look at the Halo Infinite campaign as basically, this is your first taste of what we can do, and you've gave us $60 as the entrance fee for all the other stuff that we're going to do in the future.
I feel like
so-
Halo Infinite, I mean, Honestly, though, we could talk about Halo Infinite all day, but I think so. Actually, we've been talking for I think about an hour now, a little over an hour
An
now.
hour and
So
17 minutes and 26 seconds.
okay, dude, anyway. But I think we can like pause. If we want to talk more, we can move that to Discord. For anybody who is watching this now or watching this later, the Discord link is in the description below, where you can join and maybe participate in the stream about the
Yes.
Reclaimer Book Club if you were so interested in. But yes, I think this is where we wrap it up. I think we've run out of things to say about the book itself.
Indeed.
And now we're just, yes. So that'll be it for now. We'll see. We'll be back next month, and we'll be in the Discord. So see you later.
All right. See you later, boys.